Every year, thousands of people open trendy cafes, boutique clothing lines, and sleek cloud kitchens. 5 years later, the vast majority of those businesses are completely shuttered. Meanwhile, there is a separate class of entrepreneurs quietly making millions through operations so painfully dull, you've probably never even noticed them. There is a common trap that catches first-time dreamers. They take their hard-earned capital and spend it to buy themselves a stressful 14-hour-a-day job. They endure the grind entirely for the social validation of saying they own a cool brand. This quadrant chart maps out the trade-off every founder has to make between social status and systemized cash flow. If we plot a trendy cafe on this chart, it lands squarely in the bottom right. The social status is high, but the predictability is low. That business only survives if it successfully acquires brand new customers every single day to keep the lights on. Now look at the top left. This is commercial pest control. Nobody brags about killing cockroaches at dinner parties, but because these companies secure agreements with massive warehouses and hospital chains, their income is locked in for months or even years at a time. The true metric of a reliable business model is not the profit margin you squeeze out of one single transaction. It is how many times that specific customer will repeat the payment without you having to resell them. Prioritizing excitement and glamour guarantees you will face fierce, saturated competition. Choosing to build a boring, recurring system is how you stop competing on brand and start competing on stability. The first category of these unglamorous models is B2B infrastructure services. Think commercial cleaning crews, industrial laundry facilities, and corporate pest control. In this model, you are never chasing individual daily sales. The absolute primary objective is securing AMCs, annual maintenance contracts. When you sign a hotel to a 2-year laundry contract, you stop being an outside vendor and become a piece of their physical infrastructure. You are an embedded operational expense that they cannot easily cut, which grants your business a high degree of immunity to minor economic downturns. But there is a harsh trade-off here. As the founder, you don't have to scrub the floors yourself. You do, however, have to tolerate the friction of managing a high-turnover workforce and grinding through slow corporate sales cycles. To see how this fits your resources, look at this comparison matrix. For B2B services, the upfront capital required is low, and the technical skill is low. But because of those annual contracts, the revenue predictability is high. Your willingness to endure unglamorous HR headaches and relentless corporate negotiations is exactly what keeps your competitors out. In B2B services, that human friction is your protective moat. If managing large teams of employees sounds like a nightmare, you have to shift your focus to models where capital replaces human labor. The second category is asset deployment and rental. This involves leasing out heavy construction equipment, specialized concrete cutters, or commercial machinery. The barrier to entry here is immediate and steep. You have to endure massive initial capital expenditures to purchase assets that other contractors only need for a few weeks at a time. This timeline graph tracks the financial life cycle of a rented asset. You start deep in the red to purchase the machine. It slowly grinds upward through the break-even phase as it completes its first few jobs. But once that initial debt is recovered, the machine enters a zone where nearly every subsequent booking is pure cash flow. A smaller scale version of this is the third category, automated retail. This includes vending machines, commercial coffee stations, and RO water ATMs. Unlike heavy equipment rentals, these machines operate at the consumer level. The machine itself acts as a 24/7 sales force that never asks for a raise, takes a sick day, or complains about the hours. But there is a hidden trap here. Automated retail is a real estate play, not a product play. You can buy the most advanced, expensive vending machine on the market, but if you place it in a low-traffic, poorly researched location, you guarantee total financial failure. The environment does the heavy lifting, not the hardware. Updating our matrix, you can see the shift. Asset rental and automated retail completely bypass the need for technical skills, but they demand high upfront capital and carry severe location and logistical dependencies. When you choose to deploy machines instead of people, you avoid human friction, but you absorb rigid physical and financial risks in return. For those who want zero physical footprint, zero inventory to manage, and absolutely no geographical limits, there is a final category, This is micro SaaS, or software as a service. These businesses focus on solving one incredibly specific administrative problem for a niche industry. Think of an application designed purely to track attendance and renewal reminders for independent gym owners. The appeal here is the principle of infinite digital leverage. You invest the time to build the software product exactly one time. Once it's complete, you can sell it to 10,000 different customers at essentially zero extra production cost. The counterbalance to that massive upside is a severe barrier to entry. You have to survive a digital gauntlet of intense global competition, and you must possess highly specialized technical skills to build something that actually works. Looking at the completed matrix, micro SaaS sits in its own distinct territory. It demands the highest technical skill, but offers zero physical friction and the highest potential profit margins on the board. Software offers the highest theoretical margins of any business on earth, but you are training physical overhead for the sheer intellectual difficulty of finding a perfect product market fit. To navigate these options, you have to internalize one final filter. Stop asking how much profit you can make on a single transaction and start demanding to know how many times the customer will repeat it. We can map out exactly which model to pursue by looking at this decisional flowchart. It matches your distinct personal constraints to the right recurring revenue vehicle. If you are a hustler with low capital but plenty of energy, your path is here. When you are time-rich but capital poor, you must use your ability to sell contracts and manage people as your primary competitive edge. You build your wealth through B2B infrastructure services. If you are a passive investor with cash to deploy, you follow this route. Viewers who have savings but absolutely zero time to manage employees should purchase automated machinery. Your only job becomes location scouting and logistics. And finally, the digital builder. If you have specialized programming knowledge, you should ignore physical businesses entirely. Your path is to build infinite leverage digital tools. The entrepreneurs who build these systems don't spend their energy chasing the next viral trend. They focus on the reliability of the contract and the longevity of the customer relationship. By ignoring the glamour penalty and embracing models built on boring, recurring revenue, you stop grinding for daily cash and start accumulating lasting leverage.